Hey Leo, how you doing? Mariah here. It's a pleasure as always. I'm gonna be very straight up with you. I genuinely don't want to do your reading today. Not because of me, because of the energy. Prior to cutting on this camera, I meditated, I sat with your energy like I normally always do. And something about this energy feels very rebellious, like get out. It reminds me of the song Papa Was a Rolling Stone, somebody feeling like they've walked a lot of their lives, feeling alienated. Walked a lot of their life, kind of to their own accord, by their own rules. This feels like a rebel without a cause, but there is a cause. I just think the people that surrounding you don't understand the method to your madness. So when I'm feeling this energy of not even wanting to do your reading, it's not, again, because I don't want to. It just feels like somebody who is very headstrong that I'm picking up. Somebody who's very headstrong and they are bound to do things their way. They are bound to figure out, but it's because they've only had them to rely on. They've been their own judge and jury. They've been their own support system. They've been their own cheerleader. So it's like, why would I even listen to you or take advice from you when I've been here for me the whole time? I'm the one who got me here. I'm the one who had to deal with all this alone. I'm the one who had to arrange my life or deal with certain circumstances, or because it's giving me, again, I'm getting that Papa as a Rolling Stone. So somebody may have been in the streets. Somebody may have had a street life, a street past. Maybe you come from family members who are about a street life. Maybe you weren't the one who went to college or got a traditional education. Maybe you are the person who you had to figure out life on your own through real world experiences. Even if, let's say, for an example, you are somebody who is scholastically gifted, you went to university, maybe your upbringing, you may have grown up in uncomfortable circumstances, you may have grown up in poverty, if I can speak, or you may have grown up around other people who live that life. So you're adjacent to Papa Was a Rolling Stone. And I know in the song it talks about, where, he's laying it low, spreading it wide. But in this sense, it feels like somebody who's had to roll with the punches of life. They had to roll with the ups and downs. And because of that, it's made somebody very tenacious. It's made somebody very tough. But it has created that barrier of distrusting other people, either for assistance, help, or guidance, because it's like, well, where the hell were y'all when I was doing it myself? But I have to ask you, Leo, were they really not there, or were you alienating yourself? Were you pushing these people away because of your frustration? Were you pushing these people away because you didn't have help naturally? Were you pushing these people away because you only felt like you had yourself, so you further created that insulation? I don't know. Something about this is asking me or making me want to ask you, why do you feel like it's, I don't want to say you against the world, but I do feel like you have this thing with trust where it's like, you only trust you to make it through. You only trust you to get things done the way it needs to get done. You only trust you to be able to take care of your emotions, your heart, or your mental state. It's like it. Let me keep going. Why is this energy here? Why is this energy here for Leo? We got strategy. Some of you may have grown up in gangs. Maybe you were in gangs. Some of you may have, sex workers. Ain't no judgment here. Some of you just may have been in proxy. Maybe some of you have been in situations that have kept you in poverty, where financially you really couldn't get ahead, or you are experienced with that. Survival mode comes to mind. The issue comes into play is whatever this strategy is, and you're keeping it close to your chest, because again, I get this barrier of like, even if you wanted help, I think there's this, like a feral cat. It's kind of like you're a little bit skittish of receiving help, either because maybe you were burnt in the past when you try to get help and it, blew up on you or blew up in your face. Or the other way of that is that because you've only had you. You've had to do it by yourself. You only had you. It's like now it's hard to let people in to help because all you know is you. All you in there, girls, caring connections. Indecision. Storm warning. And I don't read this deck in the reverse, but this actually came up in the reverse, which is rest and rejuvenation. I go back to what I'm getting ready to tell you, Leo. Whoever I'm talking to, I still feel like I shouldn't be touching you. And if somebody feels like I shouldn't be in their energy, and I hope I'm not invading if this is getting too personal for somebody. But if you have been in these situations, you grew up in these environments, you kind of had to like learn life with the punches. You had to learn life in the streets. You had to learn life going through poverty. You had to learn life being a statistic at one point, or maybe even with your upbringing. A lot of that survival mode that is still locked into your psyche has to be released, because it feels like what's going to happen here, Leo. You're going to start making more strides, right? I'm sure throughout your life you've seen them, but it feels like in your 2025, you're going to be making some more major strides. But when you're in those seasons of making strides or achieving or hitting those milestones, I don't care how small or how big, it almost feels like there's tension. There's this tense energy around you where it's difficult to relax. Where even though we're in the moment of, okay, the relationship worked out, or my money getting a little better, or that business that I got going is thriving or is starting to develop, or at least I'm taking the initiative forward, our mind is hard to shut off. It feels like your mind is wired. Your mind is still thinking about where you just came from, or what you had to endure, or certain traumas of your past, and it's seeping back up to the surface, and it's taking away your joy from living in the moment of your milestones. I guess if let me just be direct with you. I'm just caring for how you're going to handle this. I care about how you're going to handle this, Leo, because you do have these milestones coming in, and it just feels like you're robbing yourself of your own joy because you're so used to being on go, the next thing. I got to be on alert because life might come at me from the left, or life may come for me from the right. It's like your mind is constantly on alert, but it has to be when you're in survival mode. But when you're no longer in survival mode, it's like being able to take a step back and be cognizant enough of, my brain is still operating out of a dysfunctional space of survival, but I'm not in that reality anymore. And it's having to reconcile and bridge the gap between both. It almost feels surreal, like it's hard to live in this new existence or be achieving more in your life this year. And we're coming from the streets. We're coming from poverty. We're coming from a sense of lack. We're coming from not having enough. We're coming from a space of where we're not as educated, or, we don't have certain people in our network to help us buy. What is this? Okay. Let me keep going. What does Leo need to know? What does Leo need to know? 52 is coming to mind. 52 is coming to mind. I don't know if that's somebody's age, whether it's yours, a family member's. Forgiveness, failure, change. This is forgiving the people who couldn't be there for you. This is forgiving the people that we entertained. And not necessarily forgiving them, but more so forgiving ourselves for entertaining those kind of people. This is forgiving people who either misused us. They didn't have the right intentions towards us. These are people who may have hurt us. These are people who we may have seen in a certain light, even to a potential of pedestalizing them, and having to forgive ourselves for allowing somebody to be that magnified in our life. I think nonetheless, though, there's a lot riding on the line for you this year. This is pivotal, Leo. It's like you can't, excuse my language, you can't fuck up. And why are you putting all this on yourself, though? It's like you're being very, don't be your biggest critic, because I just feel like somebody putting a lot on themselves. Like a lot is riding on this. I can't fuck this up. I can't mess this up. If this happens, then X, Y, and Z won't happen. Or if I fuck this up, then this opportunity goes out the window. It's like this year you're trying your damnedest to get something right, and you're doing your best. But I think in your subconscious, there's this forgiveness that needs to be had for not having what you truly needed to feel comfortable, safe, and to feel like you had everything you need to survive appropriately. There's something on this that you got to forgive yourself, Leo. Or if this involves somebody else, it's like the person that's around you. If I was to give you an example, and I'll be very vulnerable and personal, which I don't want to do this right now, but I'm going to do it for you anyway. As an example's sake, this reminds me when I moved to Houston in 2020, and literally pandemic, moved there, and lost the job I had lined up because of the pandemic, was unemployed for months, living off savings, went completely broke, was about to get evicted again, and a lot of other cascading events that have happened. And for the longest, I would blame myself because it was only me that got me there. So when shit fucks up, who else is to blame but yourself? But it took some time of forgiveness to tell myself, hey, you did the best you could, what you got. Nobody else was going to do this for you. So you did what you could. Give yourself grace. I only tell my story, which is a brief sentiment of that, to bring it back to you. This is asking you to give yourself grace. Because when you've been in survival mode, or you come from a background that you don't have the opportunities, you are at a disadvantage. You got to do what you can to make things work. And that's real life. Don't be so hard on yourself for the circumstances you didn't get to choose. You didn't get to pick. You didn't get to pick the family you come from. You didn't get to pick at times how life was going to, start lifing on you. But what we do get to pick is how much we sit in that energy. And that's what this feels like. So let's keep going. What is this? What is this all about for Leo, this change? Monopoly is coming to mind, specifically Monopoly Go. So somebody's on the move. I don't know if somebody's in real estate, thinking about getting into real estate, home purchase, a home buy. No, you're trying to corner the market. That's what that is. That's a monopoly, not the actual game. Maybe that reference, some type of reference for you, Leo. It's more of the term. Somebody's a monopoly. Either there's a monopoly going on, or you're trying to create a monopoly in some way where you're the go-to person in that market, or you've cornered that market that you, and this is giving me like hustle culture, street culture, somebody that's been in the street, because it reminds me of somebody who's like a dope boy and they're the go-to guy in the neighborhood. He runs the block. And if anybody tries to step on his turf, he gonna, handle that. Not to go there for all of you guys, but that's what this feels like. Even if it's in your business, it's like you want to be the go-to person for that service or that industry. If this is something that you're aspiring towards, you want to be the one that people are reaching out towards and reaching after, where you're cornering that market. When they think about food, they think about you. When they think about a YouTuber, they think about you. When they think about exercise and fitness, they think about you. When they think about a realtor, they think about you. You're trying to monopolize it, but this comes from that hustle culture. This comes from that street smarts. You're using your street smarts in business. You're using your street smarts to get ahead or have some kind of advantage or leverage in the game. Oh, that's your leverage point. You have a special advantage that other people don't have because you have a level of street smarts to you. Whoever this is for, it's not going to be for all of you, but you have a level of street smarts to you, where when you bring that into corporate, when you bring that into business, when you bring that into money handling of any sort, you have a leverage point because you know human nature. You know how people operate, you know how people work, and you know how people can get down and dirty because you lived it through the streets. You lived it through being in poverty. You lived it through being on the, by being a part of, if you will, the underbelly of society, where you have to make ends meet by all means necessary and do what you got to do. You didn't get to have a stable, straight, and narrow life. I'm not talking to y'all today. I'll get to y'all in another reading. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to the ones that really had to get it out the streets or get it out the mud, or had to, whether you go dance and you strip or you prostitute, or, you got to do what you got to do, or you're working dead-end jobs just to get ahead. It's like, sleeping out your car, having to have an old place, an old car until you can get by. It's like, what it feels like to have nothing or to have the least. So when you have the most, you're going to make some noise. And it feels like, whether it's in a boardroom, a deal, a contract, a conversation that has something to do with what you want, because you're being strategic about it, you're using those street smarts to get ahead. You're using those street smarts to get ahead. Tower's coming out. Tell me more. Canary yellow is coming to mind. Maybe somebody's into bird watching. I think of diamonds, like the canary yellow diamonds. So maybe somebody's buying some jewelry, going shopping, looking good. Somebody, even in times of financial distress or poverty or how you were brought up, it's like you wouldn't even be able to tell. I think you're the type of Leo, where when you put that on, you're going to put that SHIT on. Meaning, even if you have no money in the bank account, you're going to make sure you still look presentable when you walk out the house. Even if you're struggling, you're stressed out, you've been up all night crying, when you hit the streets, nobody would ever take a second guess. Nobody would ever think that dang, Leo was up last night crying, or man, Leo's struggling. Leo only got $100 in their bank account, or Leo poor. Leo's dealing with some instability with their living situation, because when you come out, you look very polished and put together. Even if you're wearing regular, average, everyday clothes, it's like you still like to look presentable because it's a sense of self-care. It's like, even if life has beat me up pretty badly, I'm not going to beat myself up when it comes to it. There's a pride you have in that. There's a pride you have in your appearance. You're not a slouch. You're not a slob. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. You have great pride in your appearance. And keep at it, because despite what your circumstances look like, not only is it a survival tactic because it keeps people out of your business and asking questions because they wouldn't assume, but also too, it reassures you and reinforces to yourself that despite what life looks like, there's a reason to take pride in who I am, how I'm dressed. It's like, dress for who you are, who you want to be, dress for the life you want. It's like you still put it together. So maybe again, shopping is important, because I got that canary. Emperor. What's it? I'm getting a lot of channel messages for you. Tea tree. I think it's tea. Is it tea tree? Please, y'all help me out, because I be struggling. Y'all know I be struggling on this camera. I think it's tea tree oil. I see somebody using tea tree oil. I don't know if you're using it for your hair, if you're using it for some type of remedy, because I can smell that scent. Natural too. Somebody's going natural. All right. Whether that is no more chemicals, dyes, whether that is you just going into locks, braids. 2 wands. Anything else for Leo? 6 of Pentacles. And the 4 wands. Some of you do have a move on the horizon. That's what some of you really do. Or if not, then somebody deals with real estate in some sort. Whether you're an investor, you're an agent, because I keep wanting to come back to your home. You're like your homestead. What else does Leo need to know? I think this time around, you're truly picking and choosing. Like you're an active participant in your life. You're not allowing life to happen to you. You are very much so an active participant. And I think you are actively partaking in what you entertain and what you give your time to. Meaning, I feel like this is coming back to somebody's physical appearance. When you are an attractive person, and it feels like the Leo I'm speaking to, especially with this Emperor, 6 of Pentacles, somebody's attractive here. Very attractive, very easy on the eyes. Maybe you got a great smile. Maybe your skin is popping and glowing. I don't know. You know, you do your Leo thing. You always look great, Leo. But somebody's really attractive. And when you're attractive, you'll attract everything. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's just what it is. I don't care how healed you are or how unhealed. That's the one part the spiritual community don't really take into accord. I don't give a F. You're attractive, you will attract all. The issue is our discernment has to come in so that way we can know out of what we attract what's worth entertaining and what's not. And a lot of times we don't really use that discernment. Not saying you, but I'm just saying in general. This is you having to use your discernment because it feels like you're attracting the good, the bad, and the ugly. And just because you're attracting these people into your life, Leo, please do not take it as a reflection of you. I know people say you are what you attract, and to a high degree, I do believe that. But in this circumstance, right, because there's always nuance, there's always an anomaly. In this circumstance, I don't think it's about how healed or unhealed you are. I think it's about your actual appearance. Somebody is very attractive watching this. And because of your attraction level, you're attracting good, bad, or indifferent. And hopefully your discernment is sharp enough to know who's worth entertaining and who's not. Because the wrong invite into your life, which again, whoever I'm speaking to feels like a very street smart Leo, you would already know the wrong invite into your life can be detrimental. So Spirit is asking you, if you're attracting kinds and people this year and it's, you know, they don't have the right intentions, they may not be a good person, etc. Don't, because Spirit, it's sometimes I get so flustered because I just feel so much, you know? Spirit is saying not to take it on yourself, not to be so hard on yourself. There's this critique energy. And because you may, out of the good, you will attract some bad apples here. The bad apples you attract are not a reflection of you. It's really a reflection of how attractive you are, that you can attract all. So it's positively positioning this when you do meet people that just don't have the good intentions for you. That is this time around, it's not a you thing. It's just, I'm sorry, when you're an attractive Leo, when you look good, Leo, you know what comes with the territory. I gotta tell you. The world and the thinking woman. The world is yours. BMF, who's from Detroit? Who's from Detroit? I'm getting Detroit vibes now. I'm getting Motor City, Detroit vibes. Michigan, Midwest is now coming through. Somebody's from Detroit. I would even get Atlanta too, because it's giving me Atlanta, Detroit. Of course, not all of you, but just for the ones that's for. Tell me more about this. Why is this world here? The world, oh my God. I hope y'all can see this. Twice. Along with the thinking woman. Whatever this is that's on your heart, that's on your mind, that's on your spirit, is something you have, either you've been thinking about, and I mean seriously, or this is going to be something that's going to come up for you that you seriously have to think about. 10 of Pentacles in the reverse. What's that? Oh my God, it's like F this. Oh, I can't even say all that. I'm on YouTube. I gotta remember, I'm not on Patreon. I'm on YouTube. I was getting ready to get into my sailor swearing. Yeah, this is like, no, I'm out. But you're trying to think of, where do you go from here? What is the next decision? What's the next step? What's the next step? I feel like this is a new doorway that you have not entered into yet. The world twice here. This is a new experience you're not privy to. And because you're not privy to it, we don't necessarily know how to either maneuver it, or there's something here that's putting you in your head of what to do. Should I? It's strategy. You're strategically trying to plan something out before you act on it. You want to make sure that when you do take action, that it's something that you don't regret. You don't want to feel like you got buyer's remorse towards this. But I do feel like it's a totally new life experience. So this would be, if I was to give you some examples, let's say, Leo, you move from Tennessee and you move over to, Turkey. That's a whole new life experience, a whole new cultural experience, a whole new type of environment and people that you're going to have to adapt and acclimate to. It's something that's, maybe you've always been a 9-to-5 person and now you're starting your own business. And this is a whole new experience, a whole new learning ground, because you're having to learn something when it comes to this. You're having to either research, study, learn something, or you're having to look at the details of everything very thoroughly, like with a fine-tooth comb. So that way you make sure that everything is ironclad, that you do not have any regrets, whether this plays out good, bad, or indifferent. And I feel like this has to do with you having to uproot something. So if we still use the career example, this is you uprooting from your 9-to-5 into going into your own business full time. There's no half step in the line. It's like yes or no, black and white. There's no nuance in this. You're not holding on to the old while stepping into the new. How some people would transition into a new job while still having their old. This feels like a clean, cold turkey slate. Like it's a yes or no. Once we make that decision, once we articulate what we want, that door of the old is closing. You're starting brand new and you're on fresh soil, fresh territory. I'm just so curious what this world is all about for you. Okay, it's not really telling me. It's giving me it's giving me everything else but what I actually need to know. King of Swords, 7 of Wands, the 7 of Cups, and the 5 of Wands. Why is this King of Swords here? Tell me about this King of Swords for Leo. The Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. You can't wait on, no, you see, this is why I love you. This is why I love your energy. Maybe it was meant for me to do this reading because I did not want to do this reading. But I'm like, you know what, let's do it. It's a Saturday. But I like your energy because for you, you're like, I can't wait on you. So maybe there's somebody else you have to consider with this choice. Maybe there's somebody else you are talking to about this decision, but it's either like, I can't wait on you to hear back from you. I can't wait on you for you to make up your mind. I can't wait on you until you decide what you're going to do with me. I can't wait on you to tell me I'm going to get a raise or promotion. There's something about listen, I didn't wait it. I didn't give you time. I'm not doing that. I have to figure it out for myself. This is going back into that survivor mentality. It's like you have built up this mindset that you cannot wait around for other people. You cannot wait on somebody for them to make up their mind, because only you are going to, if you will, protect you. Only you are going to make it happen for you. And when you wait on other people, it's like you're waiting on them to feel like it, or when they want to do it. And it's just like, listen, either we get this done now or I can't. So your energy is hyper focused on this strategy. Your focus is high. It's very direct on what this world pertains to. And I think there is a little bit of confusion. I think there's a little bit of, are we sure? Kind of going back and forth in our mind. Whether it is we are having internalized battles about this. I would say be careful of people wanting to know your business right now, because I think there's people who's wanting to know what you're up to, or just even if it's out of being curious, right? No bad intent, but people are wanting to know your business. Spirit is saying to protect it, because it's too much in whatever this is that you're strategizing, it's in a vulnerable space, because it has not come to fruition. This is still you in the strategy period. So you are in a place when it comes to this where you can easily receive spiritual attacks or people's energy, because we know the power of the tongue is strong. People can say things behind your back or about your business or about whatever this world situation is, where it can deter you, or it can slow things down, or it can slow down the progress. And now you're wondering, am I under a spiritual attack, or what's going on? Because we were having motion, and now all of a sudden it's not playing out how it should. It's not rolling like it should. We was making some momentum, and now the momentum slowed down. That's because you're telling too many people, or you're telling the wrong people. And Spirit just says, don't tell nobody. Let's keep it safe and don't tell nobody. This may involve other people as far as like competition. I think about if you're applying for a new job, you got other people that's applying for the same job. You do beat out the competition, though. You do. I think you go, what's the word? I feel like you're a person who's underrated. Like the underdog. I feel like you're a person who, you how to code switch. Somebody here knows how to code switch really, really well. Because you're the type of person where you could play up the environment. You know how to adapt. You know how to adjust. And you know how to be mutable and fit in with your environments. But I think people tend to underestimate your intelligence. I think people tend to underestimate how smart you are, how articulate you are, how brilliant you are, whether it's because of how you dress, because I was getting that energy a little bit earlier. So no matter what you got going on, the way you present, people wouldn't think, or because you're really good at code switching or adapting to other people, they don't know that side of you because you don't show that side. You adapt in. So when people try to be underhanded, when they see you flip your hand and they see that intelligence side come out, like, you thought it was this? No. You take people by surprise. It can be off-putting. To me, it's not a bad thing. But I think for others, it could be off-putting because it's like, well, this is not what I was expecting. Or, wait, hold on, you were one way, but now you switched. And I don't consider that in a sense of phony. It feels like you switch based on how you're treated. You switch based on what you're perceiving. You switch based on the energy that you're getting. So it's like you could keep it cool and vibe in the environment, but as soon as you think you're trying to one up, or you think you want to be smart, or you want to be cute about something, I'm going to show you that intelligence side and whoop your blah with my intelligence. And then it throws people off because they weren't expecting that. I think you get pegged. You get pegged in the wrong group a lot of times. You get pegged lesser than you should. I don't know why people do that to you, especially when you're so street smart, especially when you are so brilliant. It takes somebody of brilliance to be able to survive or to be able to maneuver through the environments that you had to. Anything else? Let's wrap this up because we're going on 30 minutes. This is probably the longest video I've done in years. But anything else? Let's get one last card. Last message here for Leos. What else do they need to know? 555 is coming to mind on the timer. And there you go. I don't know if you can see it though, but we got the Strength card, which is you. So you're the last card. And Justice on the bottom. I like this. I'm going to leave this here because this is very straightforward for you, Leo. Strength here and the Justice. You'll be all right. You'll be okay, and you know that. I would say if you review your karmic bank and you feel like it's a little bit depleted, meaning that you haven't really had karma, good karma, I should say, good karma on your side, Maybe you have seen other people kind of get the milestones or the outcomes that they wanted in certain areas that maybe you want and you haven't reached yet or you haven't achieved yet. There's a major milestone with the world here twice. A major milestone. And if you felt like karmically, based on the good you put out, based on the type of person you are, your intentions and your integrity being in alignment with spiritual enlightenment and awareness, this world, when you get on the other side of this world, which is some type of, again, major milestone, you're going to realize, oh, this is my good karma. All of the things and all of the deeds that I've done and I've placed into my karmic bank and I have not gotten the payout, I haven't been able to pull out any funds of that karmic bank, through this world, finally, I get my good karma. Finally, I can start to experience these things. But it feels like something specific. Either which way, you're in good hands, Leo. You really are. You're in good hands. I'm going to leave this here. I hope this has resonated. I know this is long as all heck. The link in the description box for a personal reading. And in the meantime, catch y'all next time.